Welcome to Time Trap, one of the most difficult challenges I've played in Minecraft. 5 minutes, superpowers, and some unnecessarily strong monsters. So it all goes like this. You spawn in a world, you get random powers, and then you have 5 minutes to find ores to grant yourself more time. Sounds simple enough, right? Wrong. In the process of beating this challenge, I had to learn and die over and over again. So many times I couldn't possibly detail them all in this little video. This is primarily because of Brutal Nightmare, a difficulty modifier that I have little experience with. However, make no mistake, I have every intention of winning, and maybe after this, I'll make a normal Minecraft video for once. Alright, let's get straight to the action, where I get some of my most important powers, and then immediately jump to searching for food, wood, and a cave simultaneously. And if you're curious about the powers, we got catapult gliding, piercing, and self-healing. Using gliding and piercing together, we can launch into the sky and execute quick dashes to get around fast, which is especially important in these first 5 minutes, and self-healing is self-explanatory. Now, on to the resources. All I need is a little bit of food, where we got sheep and sweet berries, and a couple logs. Following this, we go straight to a cave, because the next thing we need is 7 iron to make a cauldron, and then whatever ores we can find to throw into it for more time. And this initial caving experience before you have armor is probably the second hardest part of this entire challenge because of the increased strength of your enemies and the rush that you feel as you scramble around trying to find resources. But once you make it past your first few monsters and smelt the iron to make a cauldron for your ores, you now have the ability to increase your time limit, which means you can focus a little more on gearing up, where we'll get the basic tools and weapons. Unfortunately, this cave doesn't have much for us, so we're gonna have to look for a new one. See, this is why our movement skills are so important. Anyways, once we do find the new cave, we can get down to business. Mine some iron, kill some enemies, you know, the normal stuff. And here's how that went. So I did end up doing a little fighting with a few monsters and got some extra copper for more time, and even got to pick a new power, which honestly wasn't very helpful. Another thing that you might notice in my fights is that I tend to use blocks to defend myself, and this is because after losing so many times, I'm not taking risks fighting monsters face to face anymore, which is why you see me do as I do. Not very exciting, but we're here to win. And after gathering some ores and taking out some zombies, we could finally move on to getting some armor, which is our second biggest achievement up to this point. Normally, at this stage, I'd focus on finding diamonds to get a diamond pickaxe or enchanting table, but you see, we're on a time limit, and while I am okay with stopping to get more ore, the more time I have on this world is just the more risk I take. So instead, we'll get around this by using a lava pool to enter our next stage of the game, and the one that I fear the most, the Nether. Here we go. Moving on, we start by gathering a little gold for a time, and then immediately jump to searching for a fortress or a warped forest, because we want ender pearls and blaze rods. This search took me quite a long time, but I did come across some extra loot along the journey, such as this bastion, where I took some gold blocks, potentially for trading, and also got some extra time, because blocks turn into time when you crouch on them. And next I ran into a warped forest, where I tried fighting some endermen, ran from others, still killed them though, and then tried to trade, which got me 5 ender pearls, and then found a random enderman which I killed to get 6 ender pearls. Following this, we finally came across our nether fortress, where I decided I wanted a much more aggressive approach. In my previous tries, I was super defensive and seriously avoided direct confrontation out of fear. This time, I was going in with one thing in mind: just kill the blazes. And so we did. I went in with practically zero fear and just started swinging. I actually got some new powers during this time, laser eyes and a sentient sword we'll call it. Back to the blazes though, yeah, I was just swinging, and my new power started helping me out almost immediately. So killing blazes wasn't necessarily easy, and I definitely risked my life playing like this, but it was a lot faster than it used to be, and in my opinion, was the best idea I had out of all of my attempts, because I wanted 7 rods and didn't want to take forever getting them. In addition to this, blazes seem to spawn and multiply in numbers very quickly, so my strategy was also good for keeping things from getting too out of hand, because if that happened, I was almost guaranteed to die. But after I did get my 7 rods, I was gonna have to return to fighting endermen, because I only had 6 pearls and I wanted 14. I've said this before, but I like to have some insurance. And I was killing endermen because I didn't want to have to trade with piglins, and this was way more fun. The sword, get him again. Now you want some too? Go ahead and hit him too. 14 pearls, we're done. So after getting my 14 pearls, I had only one thing left to do in the Nether, and that was leave the Nether. If you remember, we came in here with a lava pool, so we never had a pickaxe to get obsidian. Through previous trading though, we got 9 obsidian, so we need 1 more. And since my fortress searches were never helpful, and trading again wasn't helpful, although I did get arrows, I had to find my obsidian inside of a bastion. Or perhaps I should say from a bastion, because I just took more gold to trade with, and increased my time, and then finally got my last piece of obsidian. And with that out of the way, the Nether is finally over and we can return to the overworld to approach the end. Okay, we're now in the last stretch, and to be honest, the Ender Dragon fight is pretty much the same, and as long as I use my powers well, the fight will be incredibly easy. First, we have to find the stronghold though, and given that we're over 32,000 blocks out from spawn, we'll be flying for a bit, but this is fine. We have time to spare and have no reason to stop for anything, except a little food. Once we do have the food though, we return to the skies to continue flying in search of the stronghold. And once we find it, we'll just jump straight to the portal room, because it took me quite a while to find. And after we clear it, it's finally time to enter the end. It's the last I got in me. So for this fight, our plan is pretty simple. First, stay off the ground because Endermen can be invisible, and if I look at their eyes and start having to fight them, I'm probably gonna lose. Second, we'll take out any freely available crystals using catapult gliding to shoot them as we fly. This is going to be the quickest way for us to deal with them. It doesn't really help deal damage, but it's fast and that's all I want. And then we'll take out cage crystals by climbing the towers individually, because flying around and trying to shoot through iron bars is not a very good mix. Once we do finish with all the crystals though, we'll continue flying around using catapult gliding and shoot the dragon as usual. But there's another power we'll be using to help us deal damage, and that is Soul Sword Guarding, which is the sentient sword that I mentioned a while ago back in the Nether. By using these two abilities together and taking advantage of the dragon when it perches, we can very quickly take down the dragon, and finally bring this challenge to its conclusion. Nah, go get him! And now you might be wondering, what did you get for winning? And I'll tell you, I got to be free. I'm never playing this again. Oh, and I also got a whole bunch of new powers that I'm never going to use because I'm not touching this world again. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you made it this far, you should consider liking, subscribing. I mean, you know how that goes. And I guess until next time, have a good one.